I'm Jason Eastwood. I'm a guitarist and a composer, and was a professor of music at Dalhousie University. And today we're here at the St. James-Assiniboia Museum, and we're going to talk about a little bit about the history of music, but more how you can use the history of music to write your own music. Because, you know, it's kind of like writing a paper or writing a story or a poem. You've probably sang things that come out of your head. That is the way that we compose music. So I will play a concert of some of my own songs, and this is gonna be a 3-part series. So this is part 1 here, and we're going to talk about improvisation. If you don't know what improvisation means, it just means making something up, ad-libbing. And that's how everything comes from. All the music that we make comes from just taking the 12 notes that exist in music. Well, let me say them for you too as I play them. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C. 12 notes, we count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then there's different octaves of that, of course, right? An octave means higher or lower, right? We've got the low C, high C. And basically, you take those 12 notes and you arrange them with a rhythm. Now, a rhythm is even the way we speak, but you could take anything as a rhythm. If I go like this, I take those notes and mix them up. And I can start making a song. And then you have repetition. So basically improvising is just kind of taking these 12 notes and trying to make something up. Now you say, well, how do I organize these 12 notes? The best way is to listen to lots of music from the past. What's your favorite artist even today? Listen to the Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you stream your music, and pick out a song and say, try to sing it. If you sing a lot of songs, they do a lot of repetition, of course, right? And basically the most important thing in a song is the melodies. The melody is, for instance, let's see if you can recognize this one. Jingle bells, the simplest melody we all learn when we're just very tiny. So that's a melody. And then when you learn some melodies you kind of make up, you want to put chords to them. Now, chords is when you play more than one note at one time. Like that. On guitar, you see that a lot with all your favorite pop stars. They'll play a chord and sing a melody over it. So I just made that up, but I mean, that's because I've been playing for 30 years, so I know all the chords and notes. Your best idea is take a few notes, even if you get a guitar or whatever instrument, a piano, and just pluck a few notes and try doing something like you say. You say a phrase, right? Like 3 notes. Like you talk to somebody in a conversation. Then if that's a question, then what's the answer? You have a little melody, and then later on you'll learn how to put chords to it. So that's a little talk about what improvisation is. Basically the best way to start playing is you just start making things up and try to feel your way around music. So I'm going to play some songs for you that are just improvised. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a note or two. I'm going to play one little phrase. Why don't I use that phrase I just used? of end it. You can think of phrases too. What phrases means is like happy birthday, right? Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, a little different. And the third one, happy birthday, dear, happy birthday to you. You think about that when you're making up your melody and just mix the notes around, you can write a song easily. So anyway, here's my first song. We'll call this Improvisation number 1. Dynamics, another thing you want to use, loud and soft. End where you started. Do a big chord or a big note at the end. You can slow down at the end. So there's a few ideas about improvisation. But of course, you know, you can apply that in your own way depending on what you know how to play. Now, I'll do some more songs now, and now that you know kind of the ideas behind improvisation with, you know, dynamics, loud and soft, repetition is a big one, and just using what you have, even if it's a little 3 notes, and just trying to say something with it. And rhythm, of course, is probably the biggest thing about music. So here's another one. If you listen to blues music, you'll find that it's improvised mostly, but it's within a form called the 12-bar blues. So it's always the same length of song, but they kind of play inside that, kind of like a, you know, you have a certain parameter, say a character you have to play, and you have to, you know, play that character, but you can use whatever dialogue you want. So anyway, I'll play like an improvisation based on a 12-bar blues. And you've probably heard this kind of music before. You hear it in all the new pop music, from Justin Bieber to, you know, 21 Pilots and everything. It's all influenced by blues, Taylor Swift. And so here is a 12-bar blues improvisation. Excuse me. That was 12-bar blues in the key of E. So when you learn to play your instrument, that's one form you should learn because you can do so much inside there. You've probably heard some of your favorite songs in there. So there's that, and then there's a lot of times, speaking of chord progressions, when you do improvisation, there's free-form improvisation, which I'll do a little right now, and that's how you should start. What free-form means is there's no chord progression, like there's no 12-bar blues, there's no house that I have to be, stay in. There's no boundaries. You can just kind of play whatever you want. Now, there's very high-level jazz musicians that do this, but the key is you're really listening to what you played before, and you're trying to play something that goes off that. So you're telling a story, but you're not just randomly saying out sentences. You're trying to tell a story that goes with what you first said, right? So here I'll do like a really open improvisation, and you can hear what that sounds like. If you ever want to check this kind of style of music out, you can listen to some Cecil Taylor or Derek Bailey is a guitar player who does this. And it's a little out there, so, just so you know, it's not going to sound like your conventional music. But here's a little spice of what that sounds like. It's a weird style of music, contemporary improvisation, but check out Derek Bailey, known as one of the greatest improvisers of our era, basically the 20th century. That's what I'm talking about, 21st century. And he wrote a book called Improvisation, you should check out. Now, lastly, let's see how much time we got here. Lastly, just want to say you don't need much if you learn one chord. In tune. But if you learn one chord, take the guitar 2 notes even. I'm putting down this note here, these top 2 notes. You can make a song out of that. I'll leave you with that, and we'll see you in the next section, which is going to be called Writing Instrumentals. And how you can take more of what I'm talking about with these chords and melodies and make them a little more structured, more like the songs you're probably used to hearing. But it all starts with improvisation. So we'll see you in part 2, improvisation. Part 2 is instruments and instrumental song.